Hello, welcome to History in the Shadows, where we dissect the diplomatic dark arts, the botched treaties, the backroom betrayals, the power plays that pivoted the world off its axis. Tonight, we plunge into the quagmire of Indo-Pacific realpolitik, India's deepening bonds with Russia and China, framed as the State Department's most egregious own goal. Drawing from declassified dispatches and fresh 2025 headlines, this yarn, spun from the threads of forgotten files, exposes how Washington's whiffs from Nehru's era to Trump's tariffs turned strategic partners into wary wards of the East. Geopolitical gamblers, your ante's up, the flop's about to fold. Let's start the story. The monsoon of 1947 drenched Delhi's Red Fort as Jawaharlal Nehru, India's bespectacled bard of independence, surveyed the bloodied map of partition. The subcontinent, freshly cleaved from Britain's Raj, pulsed with promise and peril, a non-aligned giant awakening amid bipolar shadows. Nehru's gaze lingered on the northwest, Kashmir's contested crags, where Pathan raiders backed by Pakistan snarled at the new dominion. To the north, the Himalayas loomed like silent sentinels, guarding against Mao's marching millions in Tibet. And to the west, across the Arabian Sea, the Soviet bear stirred, its red banners fluttering in Stalin's chill winds. Enter Elias Hawthorne, a lanky Yale alum and fresh-faced Foreign Service officer, dispatched to the subcontinent's sweltering chancery. At 28, with a pipe clenched in teeth yellowed by Turkish tobacco, Elias embodied America's post-war optimism, the Marshall Plan's midwife, eager to midwife democracy in the East. His brief? Woo India into the Western fold, counter the communist creep. Nehru's our Nehru, his boss, Ambassador Loy Henderson, barked over gin fizzes at the Imperial Hotel. Play the Pakistan card smart, arms, aid, alliances. India'll come crawling when the Reds rumble. But Elias's first dispatch, scribbled under a punka's lazy sway, hinted at folly. India, scorched by colonial chains, spurned pacts. Nehru's April 1947 overtures to Moscow, diplomatic ties sealed before the ink on partition dried, weren't ideology, they were insurance. The Soviets, eyeing Britain's retreat, dispatched envoys with blueprints for Belay's steel mills, whispers of MiG deals dancing in the air. Elias cabled foggy bottom, non-alignments no bluff. Pakistan's our proxy, but it'll bite. Washington scoffed, greenlighting 10 million in arms to Islamabad, rifles that would one day echo in Kargil's crags. By 1950, as Mao's People's Liberation Army swallowed Tibet, India's border bristled. Zhou Enlai, the silky strategist, glided into Delhi for Panchsheel, the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence, inked in April amid Hindi-Chini bye-bye chants. Elias, embedded in the embassy's map room, watched Nehru toast the dragon, trade pacts for silk and porcelain, cultural exchanges blooming like lotuses in the Yamuna. Himalayan buffer intact, Nehru beamed. Elias wired urgently, China's the wolf at the door. Arm India now. Dulles, Eisenhower's hawkish secretary, demurred, tilting harder to Pakistan, forging the Baghdad Pact's anti-red ring. Result? India's ire, Soviet aid surged, Bokharo's blast furnaces belching under Kremlin blueprints by 1955. Elias's dossier thickened in 1954, as the Geneva Conference partitioned Indochina. India, chairing the International Control Commission, played neutral arbiter, earning Khrushchev's gratitude during his 1955 Delhi jaunt. The Soviet premier, balding and booming, pledged heavy machinery for the first 5-year plan, his bear hug eclipsing America's tepid wheat loans under PL 480. Elias cornered a tipsy Indian diplomat at a Lothian Gardens soiree, "Why the Reds? We're the free world's arsenal." The reply, laced with pond spit, "You arm our foe, they build our dams." Balance, Hawthorne, it's our bhakti. The 1962 Sino-Indian War shattered the illusion. Chinese boots crunched over Thagla Ridge, seizing Tawang in a blizzard of bayonets. Nehru's pleas to Kennedy, airlifts, radars, arrived tardy, 50 million in scraps when divisions were needed. Elias, hunkered in Tezpur's tea estates as refugees flooded Assam, penned his bitterest cable, border betrayal breeds bedfellows. Moscow's our missed move. Indeed, as PLA tanks idled at the McMahon Line, Khrushchev dispatched MiG-21s and T-55s, the 1962 arms airlift a red lifeline. China retreated, but the scar suppurated, India's gaze turned firmly Eurasian. Elias climbed the ladder, consul general in Bombay by 1965, as Indo-Pak war drums beat anew. Washington, Nixon's realpolitik budding, funneled F-104 starfighters to Ayub Khan, turning the Ran of Kutch into a U.S. arsenal's playground. India's riposte? The 1971 Indo-Soviet Treaty of Peace, Friendship, and Cooperation, 25 years of mutual defense, inked as Naxal fires licked Calcutta's slums. Soviet carriers shadowed the 7th Fleet's Task Force 74, thwarting U.S. intervention as Mukti Bahini guerrillas carved Bangladesh from Bengal's blood. Elias, watching MiGs strafe Pakistani panzers over the airwaves, confided in his journal, Kissinger's China Pivot? It pivoted us to Moscow. Colossal but Pakistan fattened, India fettered to the bear. The 1970s gilded the Indo-Soviet bond. Brezhnev's brigade built the BrahMos precursor, nuclear subs sketched in Severodvinsk slips. Elias, now deputy chief of mission in Delhi, lunched with Indira Gandhi's aides amid the emergency's shadows. Your sanctions post-Pokhran 74, one murmured over Dal Makhni, pushed us to Siberian uranium. Thanks for the nudge. Washington's nuclear apartheid, via the Nuclear Suppliers Group, isolated India, while China, post-Nixon's 1972 tango, warmed to Pakistan's embrace, co-building the Karakoram Highway's serpentine spine. By 1982, as Reagan's Star Wars loomed, Elias, graying at the temples, pipe now a prop, chaired the Indo-US dialogue in a foggy-bottom conference room, mahogany walls echoing with Cold War ghosts. Strategic partnership, he pitched to Rajiv Gandhi's envoy, Quad seat against the dragon. But Beijing's Deng Xiaoping, pragmatic peacock, thawed ties with Delhi, border talks in 1981, trade ballooning to $200 million by 85. India's response? Sukhoi Su-30 MKIs from Irkutsk, not F-16s from Fort Worth. Elias's memo, stamped eyes only, warned, U.S. tilt to China post-Tiananmen blinds us to the subcontinent's sway. India's our fulcrum, fumble it, and Asia flips. The 1990s dawned with Soviet shards. Gorbachev's glasnost crumbled the ruble, Yeltsin's vodka-fueled chaos halted T-72 spares. Elias, ambassador to New Delhi from 1993, navigated the post-Cold Thaw. Clinton's team, scenting opportunity, lifted sanctions post-Pokhran 98, tardily, after dual-use bans bit India's IT boom. Yet China's shadow lengthened, nuclear tests at Lop Nor in 96, missiles parading in the Strait of Malacca. India's Igni-2 roared in reply, but Moscow's S-300 batteries shielded Delhi's skies. Elias hosted Strobe Talbot's shuttle diplomacy, brokering the Jaswant Pact talks, but confided to aides, China's string of pearls, Gwadar to Hambantota, strangles our Malabar exercises. Russia's our reluctant anchor, Washington's adrift. The millennium's pivot came in 2000, Clinton's agri-faux pas, focusing on Kashmir, snubbing the bomb, nearly derailed the thaw. Elias, retired but consulting, penned op-eds, U.S.-India civil nuclear deal? Vital, but vet it with Russia, are Sushma Swaraj's in bed with Lavrov. The 123 agreement, inked 2008 under Bush, cracked the non-proliferation nut, but China's NSG bloc in 2008 for waivers irked. Obama inherited the Quad's husk, reviving it in 2007 dialogues, but India's UPA waltzed with Winjiabao, $60 billion trade by 2010, border mechanisms like the 2005 protocol masking LAC frictions. Elias's twilight years, sipping single malt in a McLean McMansion, chronicled the Obama-Modi tango. The 2014 pivot, Modi, the Chaiwala turned Colossus, hugged Obama on Republic Day, sealing Lemoa logistics pacts. Kumkesa and Bika followed, Quad resurrecting as Indo-Pacific bulwark. Yet Russia's shadow clung, S-400 deals in 2018, $5.4 billion for Triumph batteries, braving U.S. COTSA sanctions. Elias's final book draft, yellowed pages in a safe, Trump's tweet storms? They'll torch it. India's multi-alignment, Russia for arms, China for cash, is our Frankenstein. Flash to 2025, October's chill gripping foggy bottom as Elias's successor, Ambassador Carla Ruiz, a hawkish Harvard PhD with a penchant for power suits, stared at her Bloomberg terminal. The date, October 9, 2025. Trump's second term, a tariff typhoon, had upended the board. Secondary sanctions on Indian refiners buying Russian Urals crude, $68.7 billion trade in FY 24-25, oil imports tripling post-Ukraine, slapped 25 duties, jacking pump prices in Mumbai to 120 rupees/liter. Colossal failure, Ruiz muttered, echoing Elias's ghost. Trump's ex-rant that morning, India's leaning to darkest China-Russia, lost M, folks. Tariffs will bring M back. The MEA's riposte, strategic autonomy ain't for sale. The fallout cascaded. Modi's July 2024 Moscow summit, first since 2022, sealed 10-year defense pacts, BrahMos 2 hypersonics, and Rosneft's Gujarat refinery expansion. Putin, bearish in a Brioni suit, quipped over Blini, your oil discount? Our bonds unbreakable. By September 2025, RIC, the Russia-India-China troika, reconvened in Moscow, slamming U.S. Bagram revival in Afghanistan as occupation redux. Xi, inscrutable over Jasmine tea, nodded, multipolarities dawn. China's thaw accelerated the tilt. October 2024's border pact, disengagement at Depsang and Demchok, unfroze the LAC, patrols pulling back 2 kilometers amid Ladakha's lunar chill. By June 2025, Modi-Xi BRICS parley in Kazan birthed the Eurasian Economic Corridor, a $100 billion infrastructure splice from Chabahar to Kashgar, bypassing Malacca's choke points. Trade hit $135 billion, China overtaking U.S. as top partner in August, deficits be damned, electronics flooding Flipkart, EVs charging Tata's streets. Ruiz's cable, frantic, Quad's quadrille? India's two-stepping with the dragon. Tariffs pushed M, Russia's cheap crude, China's cheap chips. Back in Delhi, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, the Mandarin-speaking Mandarin, briefed Modi in South Block's Warren. Washington's whimsy, COTSA waivers denied, ICET tech transfers stalled, force our hand. RICS not alliance, it's arbitrage. Modi's nod was steely, Elias Hawthorne warned it in '82. Autonomies are Atmanirbhar. The PM's September Beijing hop, first since Galwan, inked 15 Maos, Huawei 5G in Uttar Pradesh, CPEC extensions via Iran. Protests erupted in Kolkata, China's debt trap. But Mumbai's mills hummed with Yangtze steel. Ruiz, jet-lagged from a quad huddle in Honolulu, cornered Jaishankar at a foggy bottom iftar. Mr. Minister, Trump's tariffs? Leverage for leverage, join us fully against Beijing. Jaishankar's smile was sphinx-like, Madam Ambassador, 1962 taught U.S., friends feast, foes fast. Russia's reactors power our grids, China's cranes build our metros. Your sanctions? They sanctioned solitude. As she departed, a leaked cable surfaced, Elias's 1998 memo, dusted from archives, U.S. failure, arm the adversary, sanction the ally. India drifts east, our pivot's peril. The dominoes tumbled. October 2025's G20 in Rio, Modi, flanked by Putin and Xi, unveiled the Global South Compact, $50 billion climate fund, veto-proof via RIC consensus, sidelining Washington's World Bank whims. Trump tweeted fury, India's RIC racket, lost cause. U.S.-India trade dipped 15, Quad exercises cancelled amid Indian Ocean monsoons. In Moscow, Rosatom inked Kudankulam 4, S-500 shielding Igni silos. Beijing's Belt and Road coursed through Arunachal's veins, dams on the Brahmaputra, friendship bridges over the Thaw. Elias, if alive at 98, would chuckle over his pipe's embers. From 1947's fumbled fellowship to 2025's fractured front, America's foreign ministry scripted its own tragedy. Nehru's non-alignment, once mocked, morphed into Modi's multi-alignment, a dependent dance with dragon and bear, born of Western wobbles. The colossal failure? Not in Delhi's defiance, but DC's delusion, treating India as pawn, not partner. Yet shadows shift. As 2026 looms, Ruiz pores over her predecessor's dossier, a yellowed prophecy, redeem with restraint tech transfers, not tariffs, trust, not tilts. Will Biden's ghost or Harris's hawk heed? Or will Rick's ricochet redound, Asia's axis eternally ask you? In the annals of audacity, India's ties, forged in fire, tempered by folly, endure. Washington's lesson? Hubris hobbles, humility heals. But history, that sly sutradhar, script sequels unforeseen. Thank you for navigating the neo-colonial knots of history in the shadows. If this diplomatic debacle double-crossed your expectations, like to lock in the likes, subscribe for more multilateral mysteries, and comment, pivot or perish, which superpower's next? Until the next Shadow Summit, align wisely, or be aligned against.